All right, listen up, everybody. I need to get something off my chest right now because I'm absolutely furious after what I just witnessed on SportsCenter. I was literally pacing around my living room last night, watching this game unfold, and then I woke up this morning, turned on ESPN to catch the highlights and analysis, and the entire SportsCenter panel was equally as heated as I am about what transpired in Miami. The crew was going absolutely ballistic in the studio, and honestly, I don't blame them one bit, because what we all witnessed last night was nothing short of highway robbery by the officials. The New York Knicks were legitimately robbed by the NBA in their heartbreaking 115-113 loss to the Miami Heat. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this might have been one of the worst non-calls I've seen in a crucial game-deciding moment all season long. Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we jump into this massive Knicks news, I just want to ask you for a quick favor that would mean the world to me. If you could just take 1 second right now and hit that like button, it would be incredibly important to me and helps this channel grow so much. I know it seems like a small thing, but those likes genuinely make a huge difference in getting this content out to more Knicks fans who need to stay updated on everything happening with this team. So seriously, just tap that like button real quick. It literally takes 1 second, and it helps me out more than you know. Now, before we dive into the absolutely egregious missed call that cost New York this game, the SportsCenter analysts made it crystal clear that they want to be fair and balanced in their assessment of what happened. Listen, the Knicks absolutely should have played better throughout this entire contest. That's indisputable, and nobody on the panel is denying that reality. They should have been significantly more consistent with their effort and execution, especially with their three-point defensive rotations and closeouts, which ultimately allowed the Heat to get clean looks and knock down shots at a ridiculous clip. The analysts kept emphasizing you should never leave the outcome of a basketball game in the referee's hands if you can avoid it, because you want to control your own destiny and not rely on officials making the correct call in crunch time. All of that is absolutely true, and the Knicks bear responsibility for allowing the game to get that close in the first place. But having said all of that, and acknowledging New York's shortcomings, by the way, real quick, if you're a Knicks fan, check out this insane Knicks cap popping up on the screen right now. It just went on sale until the end of this week, so this is the perfect time to grab yours. And right below, you'll also find other official Knicks products that are absolutely insane. Just click the card that just appeared. Now, let's get back to the video. The SportsCenter crew was unanimous in their assessment. The Knicks were absolutely robbed in the final moments of this game, and there's simply no other way to characterize what happened. Did you see that call or lack thereof in the closing seconds? The panel kept replaying it over and over from multiple angles, and each time, it looked even worse. Forget about the goaltending call for a second, because that's actually the least egregious part of the entire sequence. Where in the world was the foul call? The NBA legitimately and directly cost the Knicks this game through officiating incompetence or negligence, and the crew is going to break down all of the latest reports and reactions comprehensively today, because this story is dominating basketball conversation everywhere. Before we get into the controversial ending, the SportsCenter panel wanted to provide context by examining the quarter-by-quarter breakdown of this game, because it tells an interesting story about how this contest unfolded. In the opening first quarter, the Knicks scored 20 points compared to the Heat's 25 points, so New York found themselves in an early 5-point hole right out of the gate. But for the rest of the way through the remainder of the game, spanning the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, the New York Knicks scored exactly 31 points in each and every period, which shows remarkable offensive consistency once they settled into the game. In 2 of those 3 quarters, New York actually scored slightly more than the Miami Heat did, demonstrating they had control of the game flow for significant stretches. The analysts emphasized that just like the viewers watching at home, they genuinely wish New York's offense was significantly better and more efficient last night across the board. They wish all of those open three-point shot opportunities that the Knicks generated through good ball movement and offensive execution, especially in that crucial second half when the game was on the line, had gone down through the net. But those shots didn't fall with any consistency, and ultimately, the Knicks lost this game by the narrowest of margins. But the panel kept stressing that when a game is genuinely that close and competitive, and you can see it clearly demonstrated by the quarter-to-quarter breakdown showing how evenly matched these teams were. As a professional referee, it is absolutely your job and responsibility to make the correct call in those crucial moments. You need to do your absolute best to make the right decision when it matters most. And the Knicks absolutely did not have that grace or benefit from the officiating crew last night. They were completely and utterly robbed by a missed call. The SportsCenter crew then showed the exact play in question that has everyone in basketball talking. And before they rolled the footage, one of the analysts said, "We need everyone watching to pay extremely close attention to what happens in this sequence, because it's genuinely unbelievable that this wasn't called a foul." So let's break down exactly what happened on this play step by step, because it's important to understand the full context. Deuce McBride initially misses his shot attempt, and the ball comes off the rim with bodies crashing toward the basket fighting for the rebound. Karl Anthony Towns battles through contact and secures the offensive rebound in heavy traffic with multiple Heat defenders surrounding him. You can see Towns grab the rebound clearly right there as bodies are converging. Now, watch carefully, because this is where it gets absolutely ridiculous. Towns has secured the rebound, and he's trying to gather himself and regain his balance. He does gather successfully, and then he immediately goes back up strong toward the basket, attempting a putback shot. Now look at this specific moment frozen on screen, and tell me what you see happening to Karl Anthony Towns as he's elevating. Andrew Wiggins has his entire arm and forearm completely pressed against Karl Anthony Towns' body, making substantial contact. Bam Adebayo has his arm draped directly on Karl Anthony Towns' shoulder as he's elevating for this shot attempt. Where exactly is the foul call? How is that not a foul? That's absolutely a foul by any reasonable basketball standard. Forget about the goaltending controversy for a moment, because that's actually secondary to what happened here. That's not a legal defensive play whatsoever. Wiggins' arm is completely wrapped around and pressed against Karl Anthony Towns' torso. Adebayo's arm is literally on Towns' shooting shoulder, affecting his ability to elevate cleanly. Nobody in their right mind who understands basketball rules could watch this play and not call that a foul. The panel then showed an even more damning angle where you can see Karl Anthony Towns actively shooting the basketball in an upward motion toward the glass. The ball is clearly up, and he is in the process of shooting, trying to bank this putback off the glass and have it go through the net. But as you can clearly observe, Andrew Wiggins has his hands all over Karl Anthony Towns' body. At this particular point in the shooting motion, it genuinely looks like Wiggins is pushing Towns in the abdomen area, while Towns is trying to elevate. Then you have Adebayo right over the top of him, attempting to get the block, and look carefully at where his hand is positioned, right next to Karl Anthony Towns' shooting hand, as Towns is trying to get that ball up cleanly toward the rim. Both of these defensive actions happening simultaneously in this exact moment constitute a clear foul that should have been called. It absolutely should have been whistled as a foul, and Karl Anthony Towns should have been standing at the free throw line, shooting 2 free throws, with an opportunity to tie or potentially take the lead. That's what should have happened in this situation based on the rulebook. But that is absolutely not what actually transpired. Instead, Kel'el Ware comes flying in and blocks the shot. And initially, the referees correctly call it goaltending, which would have given the Knicks those 2 points. But because they called it goaltending initially, now by rule, they can only review that specific goaltending call during the replay review. They cannot go back and review the foul that clearly occurred before the goaltending because fouls aren't reviewable in that situation. After they review the goaltending call, they determine that Ware's block was clean and legal. They take away those 2 points from New York. They have the team's jump ball again for possession. They do not allow Karl Anthony Towns to go to the free throw line, And after that sequence, the rest of the game is essentially over. Now, maybe Deuce McBride should have taken a better, higher percentage shot in the final possession. Maybe Karl Anthony Towns should have been able to convert one of those put-back attempts in the final chaotic moments. Things didn't go the Knicks' way execution-wise, and they lost this game. But the Sports Center panel wants everyone to be absolutely clear. Do not get it twisted about what we're looking at here on the screen. What happened was unquestionably a foul on Karl Anthony Towns that was not called, ultimately robbing New York of this game. So that was the comprehensive Sports Center breakdown of how the Knicks were robbed, plus the concerning Karl Anthony Towns inconsistency issues that need addressing immediately.